Hey, welcome again, City Heroes Video Tours. We're back on Open Beta. It has been updated with staging patch notes as of July 6th. And there's a strong chance that those updates are going to hit live this week. That's a good thing because among the tweaks and tune-ups and fixes, they fix up the new arc that has been broken for the past week or so. Now, to get this new arc, you have to be a vigilante alignment. The only way that contact will talk to you is if you're vigilante. But before you can talk to him, you gotta unlock him. And that comes from being a vigilante and getting this mission tip to drop, Skulls versus Family. Now, you could do your 3-day autocomplete and end the mission that way, and you would still open up as a contact. But that's kind of a waste of the 3-day autocomplete. Also, I did test this once upon a time with some drones on the team, and it turned out everyone got them unlocked. So I'm like, oh, okay. However, that was before this update, and I don't have any drones on at the moment, so I do not know if it still is that way, but it's worth checking out. All you gotta do is just sit here and let all this NPC drivel go past. They'll eventually leave, and then you talk to Kogan, who is this guy right here. He's also one of the reporters you save in the first mission in the Aaron West arc. That's all you gotta do to unlock them. There's no fighting in this mission, so like I said, it's kind of a waste of the 3-day autocomplete. Okay, now we just talk to him. All you have to do is say the quickest way to get through this dialogue. Feel free to pause and read the screen, or read it yourself when you run this arc. Just say you don't trust him, and then how can I help you? And then let's do it. And that's that. He's unlocked. Now let's go ahead and run through these missions. There's lots of dialogue in them, but they don't add up to any special bonus badge or to the final badge. It's what you choose in the last mission that will end the mission with a different ending. But they all provide the badge. So that's good. Okay. There he is. Okay, gotta investigate a lab. Be right there. Okay, and here we go. We'll try to make this as fast as we can. I've been spinning through the arc on live because while it's not awarding the badge on live right now, it has been shown, and I've tested it, that complete the arc, and then when the patch hits, your character will receive the badge. I copied a couple characters over to here that had completed to verify that, so yeah. That means as of this video, all 25 of my badge hunters are complete once again. The skull leader is usually back on the first level of this. Sometimes he's up here, it's a little bit random, but hey. He's usually right down here. Sorry for the rapid clickety-click, but I've seen them a lot, so... This is where you get to the point of how to end the mission. Arrest him, or knock him senseless. We'll just take that. Yeah, it was not giving out alignment points on live at this time. The alignment points or something. I would have gotten a villain alignment point if I had knocked him senseless. Okay, and luckily you can call him right away, so you don't have to keep traveling to him. Just choose here, circumstantial. If you did that new Praetorian arc, you get this bit about Calvin Scott. Doesn't really matter which answer you choose. I choose this one. He's like, hey, if that's what you want to stick with. Yeah. Anyway, there we are. And there. And we'll see you at the mission. Okay, figured I'd spare the footage of traveling to the mission. And what the heck? Bring up the map. They say they also fixed the waypoint and the mark points on the maps too, because they were a little twitchy at the moment on live. Part of the council. And talk here to Siren, who just popped up. Just the top two. That's that. Don't waste your time with those two, they're not relevant. And we move on. And for those that might be curious, this is a rad armor energy melee scrapper. Not tank, scrapper. Although when you're rad armor as a scrapper, you're kind of a tanker anyway. This one's just a talkie mission outside, so no need to use the transport powers. Not that you could, because it's a talkie. Let's do that. That's about a little tire fire. RUPA. Ask about fracture. That skull boss you just beat. And that's really it. Not a lot of info to get from this person, but hey. What do you suggest? There. Alright, we'll see you at the next mission. Okay, here we are at the mission. And I am now, quote, disguised as a freak show. Oh boy. Says they fix this too, because this disguise power is a little bit buggy currently on live, but again, today should be the day when all those bugs and glitches on live disappear. Alright, now pay attention to the dialogue here. Choose the wrong things and you gotta fight these free show. I prefer just to get through this ASAP PDQ, so just direct authorized. Why do we need the cache? Yeah, I knew, yeah. Just say your name is Mike. Don't choose these other names right here. That will trigger a fight with this guy. And because my character is of the male gender, choosing Jane could work, but the response might be a little bit, different. So we'll just say, nope, Mike. And if you choose the wrong one here, you're going to fight the Freak Show. Just say it was Freak Show Negotiator. And then, oh, I left something in the back. Be right back. There you go. You just avoided an unnecessary fight. Here is the necessary fight. There. Now let's go back to that computer terminal at the beginning of the map. Just click here. Couldn't hack it, and then the middle options here. Vigilante, moral alignment. Yeah. Those dialogue options are the quickest way to get through that I have found. And by the way, the alignment points don't auto-change your alignment. They were just the old-fashioned method back on live of getting your alignment changed without having to go to null and go. So, but they were not awarding. They're not currently awarding on the live version of this arc. So. Okay, say I think you have an idea. Select just the 5th column. Don't like dealing with them. Sounds like a good idea. Okay. Alright, mission's close by. We really don't need to use the transport covers. Okay. It's good to have the disguise off too. And then we go right here. Okay, target should be in this area there, southwest. Now there are multiple options to deliver the challenge to this guy once you beat him. You can give it to him verbally, or you can give it to him straight up. There he is. What you're witnessing, by the way, we would call these straight up. All you gotta do here is just hit him again, that's that. No verbal dialogue, no verbal sparring. How about that? A hero alignment point for beating up a Ratsy. Okay, we can handle that. So you just initiate a fight between them and the 5th column. All part of making Cray look bad. Okay, so 5th column versus Council, and Cray had to send their Altruist division into the fight. Okay. You could choose these 2 dialogue options, but just go what's next. Okay. Now he wants us to blow up a building. And by the way, feel free to pause the video to read all this if you like, or just read it on your own time when you're playing the art. Okay, it's an apparently abandoned warehouse. Okay. Now, before I go do this mission, as someone who has done this arc on the live side of of things quite a bit to get all results through it, this mission here, to blow up the Nemesis warehouse, this is the mission in the arc where if you wanted to, you could actually do this. Autocomplete every 3 days. You could autocomplete this right now and save yourself what was probably one of the more pain-in-the-neck missions of this arc. It's usually a fairly hefty-sized map with 6 bombs to click, and then you have the option of saving some people or not. So we're going to go through the mission. But I'm just saying, if you want to kind of skip ahead a little bit when you run this arc yourself, this is the mission that you would want to use the 3-day autocomplete on. This would be the one. Because the next mission is just find a glowy, and then the mission after that is the final mission, and the 3-day autocomplete won't work on the final mission. So, here we go. And we're out of here. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and open the map up. One moment. There we are. Made a slight adjustment to game volume so the glowies will be heard a little more clearly. I also ran a test. You could dial it up and get more spawn, but this is not, I repeat, not a recommended mission for the farming of the Nemesis. There are better missions you can use. Better somebody using your fingers to like flick some dust off you after an attack. Okay, careful, no, they're not touching me. And again, this is a scrapper, not a tank. Good old see they haven't changed it yet. This map is not producing the white dot that shows you where the last glow is like some missions do. That's unfortunate. I imagine if you did a sweep and wiped out all the enemies, then you would have that pop up, but that would take a little bit of time. So, all you gotta do is just travel around using echolocation, as it were, to find the final one. Here, this is optional. You don't have to talk to this guy and try to save them, but it's kind of the right thing. Tell him to leave. Tell him to talk normally. Tell him to leave. Tell him to leave. Tell him to leave. Admit you set the bombs. And go. So you just proved you're a swell guy by doing that, even though you're supposed to be a bloodthirsty vigilante. Also, this mission would be great for mark and recall, which I didn't bother setting, but you could zap yourself right back to the exit with mark and recall. And call it good. Again, though, that was the skip mission of this arc. If you wanted to skip ahead a notch with your 3-day auto, okay, a minor pause there to reset the volume to more standard levels. And then tell him here that there were people inside, that you warned him. You don't get this option if you didn't talk to those people. Then just say a failure, move on. Again, feel free to pause the video to read all this, or just read it on your own time when you go through the arc. Alright. Luckily, this arc keeps you inside Callisti Wharf, but it's still a big zone. There's a lot of hopping around to do. So if you're going to use your transport powers like I've been doing on live, make sure you take a little side trip into the arena with one of your drone accounts for a quick gladiator fight. And you'll come out of it with your powers totally recharged for mission transport and mark and recall and all that. The arena's always done that since live. It's nothing new. Okay. There's only one glowy to click, and it's usually up on the last level of the map. It's going to be a yellow barrel, much like this. Also, when you click them, you can see up here in the target window what they are. So, that was just a demonstration. I already know that one's not going to be the magic glowy that we need. And usually we go off in this direction to find it, depending on the map. Oh yeah. Very high chance I just picked the right elevator. And we'll just take a shortcut. Flight mode. Okay. Again, if you click, it'll show up there. This one is marked as crate, even though it comes up as barrel. I really don't know if that's working as intended or if they have a little typo somewhere in the code. It might actually be WAI because that particular one is not the one. It's always one up here on this top map, and it's always labeled as barrel. There you go. Easily done. Final mission coming up. Okay, what's going to way on the other side of the map? Now, just to show you, the 3-day autocomplete won't work with this. It looks like it does. But now you gotta check in with him to get to clear the mission and get merits and badge. But you can't. You can't talk to him. Let's go back up to here for a moment. And set to a different mission real quick. Now I can abandon. And then call him back up. And the mission is there. So yeah. Gotta run the mission. Can't just skip it. It's been like that since this arc first came out. So, pretty confident that's working as intended, WAI. That took a moment. Okay, no map. that. Okay. 4 different dialogue choices to choose to what to do. Each one provides a slightly different ending in terms of what happens to the city and the casualty count, so bear that in mind. You're supposed to be a ruthless vigilante killing machine, but you know, we're talking about innocent bystanders getting caught in the crossfire, and even the Punisher is not that ruthless. So, just something to think about for a moment. Okay, now it's go time. Let's get their attention real quick. These two do a pretty good job of beating the temper, but it lessens your XP if you let them do it. So, got a bunch of them grouped together. By the way, the swarms, you gotta take those out too. Anytime they spawn them, take them down because they do count. So yeah, you gotta take them down. Okay. Usually it's a bit of a hunt and guess as to which ones are the targets to take down. On live, a few times I've had to clear almost the entire map to get the right ones, so I'm guessing I must fix this up a bit. Alright, just say on to your schemes, and don't owe any explanations. Alright, here's your options. Each one will grant the badge at the end. It doesn't matter which one you pick in terms of the badge. What does matter is your conscience, as both character and as player. Okay. So let's go over it. Defeat them and run away is the more villainous option to choose. Kogan will report many casualties, including fatalities in the city if you do this. If you just leave it up to the Cray forces, then the destruction and body count won't be quite as high. So think of this as more of the roguish ending right here. And then there's this one here. Beat up Cray and then go outside and smash the devouring earth and save the hostages. Kind of more of the vigilante style ending, and then the more heroic ending is this, team up with them. This gives you the better result as far as what happens to the city and the civilians, so it's up to you. If you run away, you'll still get the badge, but there's no final fight for you to go through. If you do this, you just gotta beat up the Cray and then leave, and no final fight for you to go through. This one, final fight. This one, final fight, but the Cray will be teamed up with you. So, we're gonna pick the happier ending of the endings. Okay, this waypoint marker still shows here when the door is really over here. Okay. Now, there are fixed spawn points for where the hostages are at. There is a slight random variable, but sometimes there's no civilian here. And by the way, smash the swarms when they pop up. They do count as necessary to beat to free the hostage, so yeah. Hostage free, okay. And you don't have to escort them anywhere. If you see a Cray trooper that's hostage, you can ignore them. They don't count. It's the civilians you want. Again, always to smash the swarm because they'll fly off and they'll fly back, and fly off and fly back. Yeah. They slow things down. Alright, that's 2 down. We loop around here, check this corner here. Oh, we got one here this time. This is, again, each spot I'm checking, sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. There is a little random variance as to where they're going to be anytime you do this fight. At least that's how it currently is on the live version. Okay, we got some swarms to take care of. So. Which means I gotta fight all these guys while I wait for the swarms up. Good, he's free now. Good. Alright, here's our next target. And let's quickly smash this boss before he starts conjuring up swarms. There we go. And the next one's free. Here's the next one. I wonder if they fixed the spawn points. Yeah, maybe not. Like I said, there have been slight variances when I've run this about where they're at. But that might be different now. Okay, so then the last one is going to be up here. Okay, so they're right here. Sometimes up ahead here would be where they would also be. So. Okay. And a little ion strike like this. Well, that's most of them. And we win. Yay. Civilians saved, the city saved. I do have a previous video that I made here on the open beta that shows all the other endings. So. Okay. Got a column to finish it up. The plan was to discredit them, but you had to team up, so things went sideways. Tell them what happened. And that's when this guy realizes, oh god, what have I done? We almost caused a citywide disaster. And then click here. And there. And that. And now he's going to go off and rethink his life a bit. But there's the badge, justified ends. And for some reason you gotta call him one more time to clear him out as a contact. That might be something they still need to correct. Okay. But that's that. That's how you get the happiest ending on this, as well as the badge. So stick around a little. Okay, we're back. We made a little pause there and went and grabbed another copy of this character, and with the aid of the beta abilities in the menus, we were able to jump over to that mission that I mentioned about blowing up the warehouse that you can skip. It was the one where you go in there and get all the bombs and tell that guy to run, run, run and get out of there. That is the mission where if you want, you can auto skip it, use the auto skip every 3 days just to speed up your progress a bit, because sometimes that map's pretty big and the glowies are who knows where, they're always rando. But you don't have to believe me if you can skip it, I'll just show you. Oops. It ended. One moment. Yeah, the dialogue choices you get are a little more ambiguous after that mission if you auto-complete it, or if you don't warn those people to evacuate in terms of were there any civilian casualties. So it leaves it kind of nebulous if there were or not. So yeah. Likely there were, though. So just FYI. Here's the final mission. And again, just close. Okay, here we are. We're back in the final mission. We just went through the Devouring Earth attack. Took a little bit longer because not every group charged in an attack like they should. So, we're going to talk to them again. Once again, on to your schemes. No explanations. Okay, here's your dialogue choices. Now, earlier, we chose the nice, heroic ending here, teaming up with them and freeing all the hostages. I did say it doesn't matter which one you choose. You'll still get the badge and merits at the end. So, we're going to choose the more villainous ending right here, where you do nothing and you just leave it all up to them. I have a hunch if you choose this ending, future storylines might make reference to it, and there might be some karmic repercussions for your character. Also, what you did there, that choice there, that's kind of the selfish Peter Parker choice that he first made way back in the beginning when he chose not to stop that thief running past him, and he would later go on to kill his Uncle Ben when he broke into his house. Kind of similar. And I'll show you what I mean in a moment here. Read the dialogue. Ultras Division took heavy hits and casualties. Hundreds hurt and 32 deceased. So like I said, you chose the quick and selfish path with this one. You really sure you want that? I'll leave that choice to you. There will be sometimes you just want to quickly get through this arc and be done with it. If you got multiple tunes to go through it, I get it. But again, this gives you the bloodiest ending as far as casualty counts go. That other one that we chose when we teamed up with them, minimal amount of injuries, no fatalities, and the city was nice and safe. So there you have it. And again, you'll still get the badge, but I imagine you want a little bit of visual proof, so. And again, this is where Kogan realizes what we've done. He's going to go rethink his life. Hey, the Justified Ends badge dinged. There it is. So again, you got it the quick and dirty way. But with this one, by choosing the other ending. The other character that I spun through this, we got the more heroic ending. So there you have it. Oops. Alright. And again, those other two endings you could choose, they give you a slightly less body count, slightly less destruction readout. So, there you have it. Alright. Well, that's going to be a cut and a print and a wrap for this. Hope you enjoyed. At least they got this arc debugged where it'll award the badge, because for the past 2 weeks on live, it was not awarding the badge. Most inconvenient. However, if you did run it on live and did not get the badge, once they update, log your character in, check your recent badge tab, you'll see that it's there. I sent a few alts that were bugged here to beta, and sure enough the badge popped up on their list, so it will be fixed. The question is, when will they upload this patch? We're kind of hoping Tuesday this week, July 8th, will be the magic day, but we'll see. Alright, again, cut and a print and a wrap for this video. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you on the next one, and hey, turn your computer off for a while and go outside and play. See you next time.